so much for being a part of Extraordinary Women's episode today. I really appreciate you being here. For those of you, for the people who don't know you, I mean, obviously I know you because you're my cousin. We family. We grew up together. Just briefly introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and just how you're doing during the quarantine right now. I mean, obviously everybody's quarantined.
Um, I had my good days and I had my bad days. I try to make the best out of it. Um, I kind of, I've just started going around for walks around the neighborhood. So I'm getting a feel of normalcy to some degree.
Mhm. Mhm. So, just kind of talk about like what was it like growing up for you? I mean, with your mom, all your sisters. Talk about that. What was that like growing up for you?
First of all, I want to introduce myself. I am Shakia. I am Vashti's cousin. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. Um, I currently work in the healthcare field. I'm a nursing assistant. I work for the federal government, taking care of veterans. And thank you, Vash, for having me on. I was honored to interview with you when you asked me. I like to inspire women, especially young adults, who think it's no way out. So thank you for having me.
What was it like growing up for you, with you, your mom, and all your sisters? Just briefly talk about that.
Um, I am the oldest of five. I can remember as far as maybe 10 years old. My mom, she had an addiction. She's 25 years clean, by the way, thank God. She had an addiction. Yes. And there were a lot of times where I had to be responsible for my younger siblings. Um, I remember at one point she went away for a few days, and one of the neighbors had called protective service, and we all had got taken away. And my dad, that's one thing about my dad. Everything that I've been through, my father has always been there for me.
Mhm.
He made sure we did not go in the system. All of us were separated, but he made sure we did not go in the system. He did everything he could to make sure we, you know, didn't go without. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a struggle. When she finally got herself together, we, you know, came back home, and even with her being a single mom of five kids, it was hard for her as well. Even though my dad did what he could, it was still hard for her. A lot of times we lived in the dark. We didn't have lights. We've lived in several homes in the poorest neighborhoods. I mean, it was really really bad. And when I turned 16, I got pregnant. Um, my mom was accepting of it, but my dad, he wasn't. He wasn't feeling it at all.
Yeah.
But people started doubting me. You know, I became a statistic, and of course they thought that I wasn't going to be anything or anything like that. So I had my son when I was 16, and I knew then I made a decision that I was not going to raise my son the way I grew up, and that was just my motivation alone. Um, I eventually got my GED when I turned 18,
Mhm.
but I started out working at McDonald's, and I think the more bills I accumulated, the more it motivated me to want a better job and a better life for me and my son. So I had applied for Section 8, and I was one of the lucky ones. They approved me for what's called subsidized housing, and I stayed in that for a year. And I stayed in that for a year, and then my Section 8 came through. So I was on Section 8 for 5 years, and I had actually, when I got on Section 8, I had participated in a program called oh God, I forgot the name of the program. It'll come to me, but it's a program that help you buy a house. They put money into an escrow account that you cannot touch. So by the fifth year, Section 8 housing had sent me a letter stating that I had $7,600 to use towards buying a house, or I would lose it.
Mm-hmm.
By then, how old was I? I think I was about 25. Yeah, I was 25. And immediately I made a decision to go into a first time home buyers program, and I got $10,000 more. So by then it was probably almost 20,000 towards buying a house. So when I turned 26, I bought my first house with
Oh,
my son being a
I,
single parent. Would you say?
I said that I didn't know. I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
actually that where you are now was like your first. Actually, maybe I did know that, but I just know that this where you are now was like the big moment, like the really first big home purchase and
Nope.
everything. Maybe I
I
didn't
bought
know.
my first house when I was 26, which I still have. I'm renting rooms right now.
Okay.
By then, I started working two jobs because I refused. I said I was not going to let my son again live the same life that I lived. So I did what I had to do to make sure bills were paid, my lights were never turned off, my son never went without. So I worked two jobs for about 3 years. And then in 2010, I met my husband. How old was I then? I think I was 29. Yeah, I was 29. We started dating, and then eventually we became serious. We got married. We had a baby. Um, and yeah, I'm happily married right now. So going forward now, in 2018, I bought my second house, um,
And
which
that's where
is,
you are right now.
yeah, this is where I
Yeah.
am now. I'm very happy here. I love it. Um, and right now, I I am going to college. I'm in college for cybersecurity, as well as I'm changing careers right now. Um,
Oh,
and
I
eventually,
didn't know
yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah, yep.
You taught me something new. I
I
didn't
am
know
in
that.
my third semester. I'll be done in spring of 2021. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
hmm
I did not know that.
So
I knew,
that's,
but I didn't know that you were changing careers.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
And
that's
so what? I got a lot of questions now too.
sure.
So bear with me a little bit. So first question that I have is following, having your son at 16, and then working your first job at McDonald's, working very hard and deciding that he wasn't gonna have the life that you had. He wasn't gonna grow up the way
hmm
that you did. Um, what how did you stay motivated? I mean, I know he was part of definitely that motivation. I mean, I'm not a
hmm
parent, but I would imagine, when you
hmm
when you have kids, your entire purpose of living and
hmm
motivation just completely changes. But how did you stay motivated? Because I'm pretty sure, being that young and just figuring it out, there were times you felt like it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely hard. But I don't know what made me just stick with it and just say I refuse to live that kind of life. I just kept going forward, and I started surrounding myself around positive people, starting with coworkers. So when I left McDonald's, I started out working as a parking attendant at a hospital, at St. Joseph Hospital. I was, collecting money in the parking booth. And so because I was an employee, I found out maybe 3 years later that they will send you to school, and the only commitment was you had to work there for a year. They'll send you to nursing assistant school. So when I found that opportunity, I went for it, and I was able to pick whatever unit I wanted to work in. And I started out working in ICU. I worked there for 4 years, and a lady named Rocky, who actually trained me, and she took me under her wing. She's like my second mom. We still talk, to this day, and we on Facebook and stuff like that. We keep up with each other. But she was one of the ones that took me under her wing and just, you know, it started inspiring me, motivated me to want to do better for myself. And from that point on, I was just like, you know what, all the old friends that I had, hanging out in the street, I was done with that.
So what
Yeah.
made you want
So
to leave healthcare and to go into cybersecurity? Because that's quite a transition.
it is, and it's tough to actually even get internships. It's kind of tough, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on it, and I have connects now, so they're helping me get through it. Um, First of all, my body is breaking down. I'm getting older, so my knees is bothering me, my back is hurting. It's strenuous. It's very strenuous job. That was one of the reasons. The second reason, I don't know. I just wanted to change. I
Yeah.
just wanted to change for myself, and I did my research, and cybersecurity was like one of the top demanding jobs. So, and the
Yeah.
money is good. So
Yeah.
that's
What
why.
would you say is your biggest accomplishment, and why that one specifically? I mean, like I said, I know you got a lot, but which one would you say is your most proud accomplishment?
I would say buying my second home. Because if you asked me 10 years ago when I bought my first, well, not 10 years ago, how long ago was that? Well, when I bought my first home, I had no idea what was ahead of me. I
Mhm.
just, I was just working at the time just to, make ends meet. But I would say buying my second home is beautiful. I'm happy.
Yeah.
My life is complete. I think my biggest accomplishment is when I graduate.
What are some common misconceptions about you? Like, what are some things that people think wrongly of you, and how do you handle that?
Um, I've been told that I think I'm better than people. It's like people think that things are given to me,
Mm,
and I make it my business to tell them all the time. I worked my butt off for everything that I have, and a
hmm
lot of times, particularly for my younger siblings, I show them tough love because I just, I feel like you have to work hard with anything you do in life to get what you want. And
hmm
so I show them tough love because I just I don't have tolerance for certain things. Um and so they not even my younger siblings, like I said, some people that I grew up with, they think I'm better than them and stuff like that. But obviously I cut them off because I'm on a bigger level.
hmm
So I ignore a lot of things, and I just do what I got to do to take care of me and my family.
So, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What's next in 5 years, or 10 years? Where would you like to be, or are you comfortable where you at right now?
I'm not comfortable. I like you said, every year is something, and I surprise myself sometimes because sometimes I don't see these things coming. It just happened.
Yeah.
Um, and once I got my mindset on something, I'm like going for it. In 5 years, I see myself being a cybersecurity analyst, making top dollar. Um, I like to
Paper.
work from home. Yes,
That-
I like to work from home. So I plan to stay in this house, but if God say something different, maybe something bigger. Who knows?
We have reached the last part of this segment, my favorite part that I like to call raise your glass, which is
Okay.
where I'm going to ask a question. We're going to discuss it a little bit, and then at the end, I'm going to make a toast to you for being an inspiration to all women, being an extraordinary woman, and then we're going to make a toast to all the extraordinary women out there. All
Yes.
right. So you ready for a question?
Yeah, I'm
All
ready.
right. All right, let's do this. So, do you ever find yourself reflecting on your past and knowing what you know now? What would you tell your younger self?
Um, I do find myself reflecting on my past a lot of times. Um, I feel like that's what made me who I am today. Um, and I just sometimes I smile inside because I'm proud of myself.
Mhm.
Um, I know I came a long ways, and obviously you guys know as well. it just it just motivates me. It just makes me feel good knowing that I came, what I accomplished and I came a long ways. So,
Yeah.
and
And
knowing what I know now, what would I tell my younger self? Um, I don't regret having a kid. I just feel like he motivated me to do the things that I did.
mhm.
Um, Only thing I regret is starting college at a younger age, because now it's not easy.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. Just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still pretty young, so I don't have much of a past to reflect on other than
Mhm.
other than being a teenager.
Mhm.
But one thing that I do tend to think about a lot now, and you know where me and Manny grew up, a predominantly white neighborhood.
Mhm.
I mean, not many black families up there. Me,
Yeah.
and our parents and our grandparents, we were at the time when I was like about probably like 11 or 12, we were
Mhm.
one, really three black families there that everybody knew in town.
Wow.
So, and I
I can
remember that like it was
imagine.
yesterday. It was literally
Yeah.
one of three black families. It was either us or another family or the other family.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
I feel like for me, what I reflect on in my past is uh, because of where I grew up, I really struggled with fitting in and trying to be something I wasn't, like
Mhm.
changing my hair all the time,
Mhm.
wanting to have a certain look to my makeup all the time, just so I could fit in. And I found myself reflecting on that a lot, that
Mhm.
it was a moment where when I think about it, I look back, I did not appreciate and love my natural blackness. Like I literally did not like it. I hated everything about it, from my nose,
Wow.
my lips. I hated everything about it. And
Wow.
so I feel like knowing what I know now, knowing that it's beautiful, and
That's
that
right. You are a
and
beautiful
I
young black
also got a
queen.
black man that loves it, and
That's
that's
right. That's
beautiful.
right.
I would say, knowing what I know now, I would tell myself in high school and even throughout college to just accept yourself for who you are and love yourself for who you are. Because I feel like had I done that early on, I wouldn't have suffered as much anxiety as I did
Mhm.
going forward. And
Okay.
I'm recently, kind of coping with that anxiety and depression now. I've been in counseling for almost 6, 7 months now, and it's really been helping me a lot.
Good.
But I would definitely tell myself from 16 all the way up to like 20, I would tell myself, love and accept yourself for who you are, because you are not your hair, you are not your lips, you are not your nose, you are Vashti, who is named after the queen in the book of Esther.
I
That's
know
who
that's
you are.
right. Absolutely.
Yep. So, all right, Kia, let's go ahead and let's make this toast, shall we? So, Shakia, thank you again for joining me on today's
Sure.
episode of Extraordinary Women. Thank you for being inspiring to all women who are just like you, who feel like there's no way out. And I hope that the woman who sees your story, who is they look at you and they think, wow, I'm exactly like Shakia. I hope that this inspires them that there is a way out, that there is hope, and that you can be something if you just put your mind to it and work very hard. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Shakia, for being extraordinary. Thank you to all the women out there for being extraordinary. And thank you, Kia, for being an inspiration to me as well. Being
Sure.
the big cousin and always looking out for me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I love you.
I love you too.